What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, Episode 5, Part Vendetta. This one was better, but still not good. There's still a lot of problems that I have. The parts that were good, though, I'll talk about that first. I enjoyed getting to see young Anakin, Hayden Christensen, reprising the role and doing a decent job. He's still the voice isn't great, but he's matching the voice that he did before, so I don't have too much of a problem with it. But really, it's just in his facial expressions. Like, he's not as gloomy and mopey. Oh, you're just not, I'm not good enough. Oh, blah. He's smiling. He's having fun when they're fighting. He's actually giddy that he's about to, like, there's actual emotion behind the guy. I thought it was pretty good. And I feel like it's a nice redemption for him as well to get to play this character. Because, yeah, obviously people crap on him all the time. And from what I've heard, he's a fantastic actor. I haven't seen him in anything else, but some people have talked about his performances in other movies has been really good. So I like the fact that he's getting a chance here to sort of make up for what was the result of probably poor directing in the prequels. And, I mean, the little bit he got, I thought he did well. And that whole fight scene was probably the best part of the season, if I'm being honest. Because it was just really interesting to see the two different mentalities. The other thing that I thought was actually pretty good was Tala's sacrifice. First of all, it had a lot more meaning than Wade's, because we actually knew her for more than 2 minutes. But it's something that, while the whole thing with her and a robot, I don't really know what's going on. Like, it seemed like maybe was there love there? I don't know. It seemed like a very kind of almost sad romantic, as the robot's like lying on top of her to protect her, and she's like touching his face. Like, was she lonely? Because I know robots are a lot more sentient in this world of Star Wars. Still not humanoids, so I don't think that would be a thing, but who knows? Maybe it is, and I just maybe I'm being judgmental. I don't know, but no, that scene, it was a good moment for Tala to sort of save everyone and have that moment, and I think that's a lot more effective than just some random guy we just met dying because I don't know, he stuck around a little too long. Outside of that, I mean, I can't really think of anything else that I enjoyed that much. There's a lot about this. Finally getting some answers about the third sister, and it's not really that interesting, if I'm being honest. She was one of the younglings, which I kind of had in the back of my mind. I know I didn't say it, and I know probably now it's like, oh, I knew it all along. But they did have that one opening scene in the first episode where we saw the younglings trying to escape during Order 66. So I did have that in the back of my mind. Like, is that what they're going for? She was one of those younglings, and she was. Somehow survived. Because, yeah, sure, Anakin can't, as a Jedi, sense whenever there's a Jedi that's just playing dead. Nope, he completely missed that. So then she gets up, and she's somehow manages to survive. They have the Grand Inquisitor come back and say that revenge is the reason that he's alive, too. Like, okay, sure, yeah, whatever. And then what's really dumb to me is, so she agrees with Obi-Wan to set up this plan to kill Vader. What I don't understand, though, is the plan is to lure him back into the hangar, have a ship fake take off so he can pull it down and then really take off, and then she's going to come up from behind him after he's really pissed off and then try to kill him? When he's really pissed off. You do know how the dark side works, right? You do know that rage makes him stronger, right? So you just basically tricked him and let Obi-Wan get away, and now you're going to try to fight him when he's extra full of rage and anger. How is that a good plan? I'll explain how it's not. It's a terrible plan, and it works out exactly how I expected it to. Vader whoops her. And what's the other thing I didn't like about that, because on the one hand, yeah, he showed just how strong he was, how much stronger he was than her. Just absolutely took her down. Didn't even have a lightsaber to begin with. Was just dodging her attacks, and then took her lightsaber, gave her half of it back, and then still whooped her. and then stabbed her. Two problems, though. First of all, he stabs her and then just leaves her, just like he did when she was a youngling. And he says he remembers that, too. So you've already made this mistake once before. You're doing it again. How does that make sense? Also, this is not Vader. That was the weird thing. They showed those really cool scenes of Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting and how they fought, how Anakin was a lot more aggressive. They showed those scenes, and then all of a sudden at the end of this, Vader, even though he's full of rage and anger, you think he would just whip out his lightsaber, not even give her a chance. He would just like force choke, stab. You let him get away. But instead he's like, all right, you know what? I'm really pissed off right now, but I'm going to toy with you for a little bit. You know, I'm in an angry mood, but I'm in like a playful angry where I'm pissed off, but I'm kind of looking to just, I'm going to dance around, dodge, oh, good try, block, good try, block, block. It's like they wanted to show off how powerful he was, but in that moment, with how much rage he would be feeling for Obi-Wan getting away, you can't tell me that he would not just end that battle like that. Clearly he could. He was toying with her. He would not toy with her in that situation. He'd be pissed. Again, it would be, she swung at him, he blocks it, yanks it out of her hand with the force choke, stab. Probably a little bit of mixing up of the guts there too. That's Vader. This is... I don't know what this is. This is not Vader, though. So it was a scene that I think in the writer's mind, they're like, oh, we're going to show how powerful he is. He's going to beat her without using a sword. But it's a stupid scene if you really think about the fact that Vader doesn't do that. He doesn't toy with his prey. He might occasionally, not when he's this pissed off and when Obi-Wan is currently getting away. He'd be like, all right, I need to end this quick. Done. Okay, let's go get him. So that was really dumb. The fact that there was a ship that was somehow taking off on its own, when somebody just like set the autopilot and then run out of the ship and go get in the actual ship, how did that work? No real explanation for that, but yeah, the ship was just taking off, I guess, without a pilot. Vader pulls it back down. Okay. Everything to do with Leia, that just, I don't know. Well, nobody's small enough to fit in there. She's right there. Clearly small enough to fit in there. But then it takes her forever. She's like, I know it's around here somewhere. It's got to be here somewhere. I know I'm going to find it somewhere. Oh, it's the end of the episode? Oh, look, I found it. That's what it felt like. She kept looking in the exact same places. I think it looks like this. I can't find it. And then all of a sudden, Lola pops out and she instantly finds the little thing that Reva put on it. What? Okay. That wasn't even that big of a deal, so why? And then on top of that, apparently Obi-Wan's little transmitter thing that had the message from Bail Organa on it lands at it falls. Reva finds it. I guess now she's going to go try to kill Luke because I suppose... somehow she's smart enough to piece together the fact that Bail Organa's talking about sons or something like that. And I guess she's going to piece together that they're talking about Vader's kids, and so she's going to go kill them to get revenge on Vader. Is that what we're implying with this? Because if she comes to that conclusion, that is a big, big stretch. I mean, there are so many different other things that children could mean. There's so many different things. So to jump to the conclusion of these are Anakin's children, that seems like a big stretch just to have, oh, well, we've got to go stop Reva because if we don't, she's going to kill Luke and then the movies will never happen, guys. It's going to erase them from existence if she kills... Why is this supposed to be a tense scene? It's so stupid. Ugh. I think that's about it, though. It just, I'm really, I don't know. I just get really frustrated sometimes because I see some of the good. Again, when I watch the Clone Wars, when I watch Rebels, when I watch The Bad Batch, there was some stupid stuff mixed throughout that, but there was some real quality stuff in there. on the majority of it, there was a lot of quality stuff in there. The Mandalorian, at least the first season, really good. Second season, pretty good up until the end, which I will say I did have a joke in the back of my mind whenever they showed young Luke. I'm like, huh, it's weird seeing an actual person there and not some CGI monstrosity. That's really interesting. Surprised they went that direction with Luke. I thought we were just turning him into a computer program at this point. It would be really funny if all of a sudden he's speaking and he just sounds like Mark Hamill, old school Mark Hamill, like they use the re-speecher again for some stupid reason. But, I mean, there has been some quality Star Wars stuff put out recently, and at least in the shows department. I know I'm still catching up on a lot of these, but from where I've started these reviews, and even before that, again, with the Clone Wars, there has been some quality stuff. And now all of a sudden I get to the Book of Boba Fett and now Kenobi, and it just feels like, I don't know, there's a lack of care, there's a lack of thought being put into these shows now. Like, they don't really think through what, first of all, what would make a good story, second of all, how to write these characters that we want to see. Again, Obi-Wan, he's fighting like a badass in this episode. Out of nowhere. We still never got to see that moment where he accepted the fact. I mean, we even get to see a moment where when Reva tells the story of what happened, she blames him for what happened because it's his Padawan, which also, that was another thing that I thought was kind of stupid. It's like, where were you when that was happening? Well, I was getting attacked on another planet. I couldn't exactly snap myself back there, could I? But she blames him because it's his Padawan. That's something he's been struggling with all season, and you can see it still clearly affects him. So you have that as still a story, a plot point for this season. They're still affected by this. Sure wasn't fighting like he was earlier this season. When he first took on Vader, and you could see there's oh god, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm rusty with the lightsaber, I'm not one with the Force because I'm questioning myself. And then all of a sudden, these past two episodes, even with him still questioning himself, just a normal Jedi, taking on all these stormtroopers, blocking bullets back at him, like it's no problem. Yeah, this. I'm hoping the last episode redeems this season, but even if it is good, I still don't feel like it redeems this season. It's very similar to like the Book of Boba Fett. There were some really exciting things that happened in the final couple episodes. Well, for one, a lot of it was Mandalorian based, but having Cad Bane in it was cool. But those few cool things that happened near the end did not rectify the fact that I felt like I wasted my time with the majority of that season. I'm kind of feeling the same way here. Even if there is something cool here, that again, the flashback to Obi-Wan and Anakin, that was kind of cool. I still feel like this season as a whole is being wasted, though. Even if they have a good moment, I just don't think this is going to be a good season overall for me. But we'll see how it ends. Maybe I'll at least have one episode to gush about. I'll see you there in a second. And finally, episode 6. Part very important. That was the best I got. I mean, I had something for everything, but I'm like, what can I do with VI? I'm like, well, VIP, but the P is here. I'll just do Yoda. It's fine. Anyways, there was cool stuff. I mean, the battle between Obi-Wan and Vader was cool. I'll say that. It was a cool fight. However, I'm going to look back on that and not remember the cool fight. I'm going to remember how Obi-Wan bested him, slashed his helmet open, found out that Anakin is no longer Anakin. He is gone. And I'm sure they're trying to fill in they couldn't just have Obi-Wan be like, I came up with this clever analogy to explain to Luke how his father died. Is that, Darth Vader killed him. It's technically true, but I don't want to tell him the whole truth because it might upset him. No, we're not going to have that. We're just going to have Darth Vader tell him literally, no, I'm no longer Anakin. I killed Anakin. I'm Darth Vader now. Because, that makes Obi-Wan look more like an idiot. But then, after that, he lets him live. Now, people can make whatever arguments they want. They can say, Obi-Wan wouldn't just kill a guy. He wouldn't kill him unarmed. He wasn't unarmed, first of all. oh, maybe Obi-Wan still harbored, those feelings of, what he felt for his Padawan, how he cared for him. He literally just said Anakin's dead, and even Obi-Wan acknowledged, you are no longer the same man I knew. So clearly, it's not about I don't want to kill Anakin because he doesn't see him as Anakin anymore. So the only reason not to kill him is canon. It's because Vader doesn't die here. You know what else could fix that? Not having this show at all. Not having this be the point of your show. Is Kenobi versus Vader. Don't get me wrong, some people may have wanted to see that. However, it brings up a lot of questions as to how neither of them died after this. The only way to explain it is dumbass reasons. None of that makes sense. He could have stopped so much if he had taken out Vader there. He could have saved so many lives. But for whatever reason, which again, we know the reason. We know the actual reason is because, well, Vader doesn't die there. He dies later on. And yes, that is all, you could say, well, all things happen for a reason. If Vader was killed there, he wouldn't be able to kill Palpatine later in the future. Does Obi-Wan know that? No. Nobody can know that. Only we, the audience, who have seen the movies before this, know that. So that reasoning makes no sense. So again, there's no reason outside of the writer's reasons. Because Vader doesn't die here. And that's not a good reason, obviously. So that's one thing. We start off the episode, they're trying to escape. And then Obi-Wan leaves Leia in the care of these people to get her back to Alderaan. The whole reason the show kicked off in the first place is so he could go get her back and take her back to Alderaan. That doesn't even matter. He could just have these random people that he met, like, what was it, a few days ago. He can just have them take her back. That's fine, right? That's just as important. We don't even get to see them experience, like, oh my god, she's back. We don't get to see that. We just cut to, after all of this is said and done, she's putting on her holster, and she's talking about how she's going to rule differently, and I'm like, well, you're saying all this while you have a holster around you. Kind of makes it sound like you're just, oh, I'm going to shoot anybody who disagrees with me. It's not a good look. But we don't get to see and experience that moment of relief when they get her back. The relief that she feels to be back at home. It just cuts to however long later, and everything's hunky-dory. Everything's fine. And again, still doesn't cover up the plot hole of she doesn't know Obi-Wan personally years later. I even looked up the quote just to see, like, does she say something that might hint that maybe she knew him personally? No. It's all about, hey, General Kenobi, I know you and my dad worked together during the Clone Wars, so he needs your help. And I need your help. That's all it is. So, you kind of created a huge plot hole here with this show in that one thing. Also the fact that, everything that happens with Luke and Reva, he doesn't remember any of this. Nobody brings this up at any point. He now apparently met old Ben Kenobi multiple times, even though he talks about him like the crazy old man that you never go near. Well, you've met him several times. You knew him growing up, clearly. Unless Ben, he just came up and said hi this one time and then disappeared forever. And so Luke grew up and was like, hey, whatever happened to that old guy that came and saw me that one time? He's crazy now, isn't he? So many just issues with that, with trying to do some of these stories. And I guess the thing is, if they had tried to take this in a different direction, if they had tried to maybe throw canon to the wind, I don't know, just do something with it. But the problem is, we know how it all turns out. So there's nothing really to look forward to whenever you make the main focus of the show. He's got to go get Leia back. He's got to try to keep her and Luke safe. He's going to be taking on Lord Vader at some point. We already know how all of that plays out. He survives, Luke and Leia survive, and Vader survives. And what even happens to Reva at the end of all of it? We've never heard of her again. So is she just going to appear at some point in another show and be like, oh yeah, by the way, I was doing stuff off screen in the movies. I was around. You just didn't hear from me, but I was around. But on Reva in all of her scenes really quickly, because first of all, I talked about in the last episode, she literally watches a video where Bail Organa is talking about, if he finds out about the children, we need to protect them. I'll be in Tatooine and I'll find Owen. That's all she heard. Not once did he didn't say if he finds out about his children. If he had said that, okay, there you go. That's all you had to do. Change one word and suddenly this doesn't seem so asinine. But you didn't do that. You just had her listen to that message and somehow the children. He must be talking about his own Vader's children. Vader had kids. Ooh, I'm going to go kill one of them. How did you piece that together? Honestly, I had kind of a similar thought earlier this season. It was the second episode whenever Obi-Wan was trying to get Leia out of the city. And then she sees the picture of his bounty pop up. And she's like, wait a minute. They took you to get to me. Or flip that and reverse it. They took me to get to you. How do you piece that together so quickly? But with Reva, it's even less likely that she would just look this and go, oh, Vader had kids. I'm going to go kill one of them. How do you piece that together? It's crazy. It's like you're looking for a clue to find out who murdered a man in like an office or something, and you see like a little fleck, like a little speck on the ground, and somehow you just know that guy over there did it. That random guy over there did it because this speck means that this must have happened. And it's all a bunch of coincidental stuff too. Like, she jumps to these conclusions. There's no proof of any of that. There's no proof that he's actually Vader's kid. But she jumps to that conclusion anyway. And she goes and tries to kill him. And that whole scene was just stupid. We spent so much time watching Owen and Beru get ready to fight her off. So much time watching them fight her off. Then so much time watching her chase down Luke. And then so much time watching her decide, is she going to kill him? And then so much time watching her carrying his body back and like, is he still alive? That suspenseful music is playing. Do you think anybody is going into the show having not seen the original trilogy? Do you think people are watching these like in order of when they chronologically released? Does that make sense? No. When they chronologically happened? I don't think anybody is. I would say a majority of people that are watching this for the first time are going to be watching them by release date. They're going to watch the original trilogy first, and then, because that's the thing, these are not written with the idea of you got to watch them in chronological order. The prequels were not written as you can watch these before you watch the original. They were written with so much fan service to the original that you have to watch the original first to understand some of the references made in the prequels. So these have never been written in the mindset of you have to watch them from beginning to end, how it starts in the story to how it ends in the story. So nobody is going into Kenobi having not seen the original trilogy. And yet you're playing up all these suspenseful moments like, oh my gosh, is Leia gonna die? Oh my gosh, is Luke gonna die? Are Owen and Beru gonna die? Is Obi-Wan gonna die? Is Vader gonna die? Do you think we're stupid? These writers just, I don't know what they were thinking, but all of these scenes are stupid. And then to top off all the stupid cake, they put a little stupid cherry on top of Reva looking at Obi-Wan. Am I just like Vader? You didn't kill the kid! In fact, you had a moment where you were about to, but then you realized, hey, that's what he did. If I do this, I'm no better than him. I'm not going to do it. Hey, I know I didn't kill the kid like Vader did, but am I like Vader? Make it make sense. Why would she say that? She didn't kill the kid. Anakin did. You're not the same. I don't get it. I really don't. 2 shows back to back. Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi. 2 shows that it's almost like they banked on the fact that people were going to watch because of the name, because of the character. Oh, people love Boba Fett. They'll watch this show. Story, we'll figure it out later. We do have a couple of Mandalorian episodes, though, that we need to put in here to set up for Season 3, so we'll do that at some point. But we'll figure out the story later. Obi-Wan Kenobi? Alright, well, I mean, we could tell an in-between story. It's too hard to think of something original. You know what? Let's just have him, like, go help out Luke or Leia, one of the two, and then Vader will show up at some point, and they'll fight and have this big epic fight. Yeah, that'll draw fans in, right? Like, people want to watch Obi-Wan fight Vader. Who cares about how we get to that and how it makes sense in the canon? We're just gonna do it. It's awful. It's terrible, it's lazy, and it's frustrating. Because, not just because it's bad. Like, it'd be one thing if it's bad. I've seen bad Star Wars before. It's not like I'm not used to seeing bad Star Wars. We've had the prequel trilogy, we've had the sequel trilogy. Both of them are bad on different levels for different reasons. We've had bad Star Wars before. This is not anything new. However, this had such potential, as did the Book of Boba Fett, to be something really interesting. To tell a different story. How did Obi-Wan start to learn the ways of the Force? The whole idea of him becoming a Force ghost. We saw Qui-Gon at the end of this episode, finally. After not seeing him all season, they're like, hey, Liam, you want to come in for like a day? We'll shoot you. We'll put some CGI thing on you to make you look like a ghost. Boom, we're done. Why couldn't this story have been Obi-Wan learning how to become a Force ghost? That would have been interesting. I don't know if we know that. I'm sure it's probably been talked about somewhere in like the books or something, maybe. But as far as I've seen from all of the films and stuff that I've watched, becoming a Force ghost is not something that's been explained yet. They mentioned something about becoming so in tune with the Force that it's almost like life after death type of thing, I think. But we've not actually gone through, okay, is there like training to do this? Do you have to meditate a lot? Do you have to be shown by a Force ghost? Like, how does all that work? Well, we're not going to find out here. Because that was into the season. Final scene, we're going to end on, hey, Qui-Gon's going to teach him some stuff now. Would have been cool if that's what we got to see, because that's stuff we didn't already know about. Most of this stuff, granted, I mean, we wouldn't have known that Obi-Wan faced off against Vader, but that feels like it breaks canon anyway, so I don't really care about that. Yeah, it led to a cool fight. So, if I wanted a cool fight, I could go watch the Revenge of the Sith again. It's the only thing that movie has going for it is the cool fights. So, I don't know. I didn't expect to come into this and then rage about it and get frustrated, but damn, what a waste of a show. What a waste. So much potential and absolutely wasted. So with all that being said, those are my thoughts. Did you have the same thoughts? Did you think something different? Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on not just the final 2 episodes, but the season as a whole. And we'll talk about it, discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Star Wars reviews, because I will be jumping into Andor next. So I'll see you guys at that one. Peace out.